Hello there, my friends. As we continue comparing the different Ork Boys, today we're taking a look at the Beast Snagga Boyz, as seen in the Orks Combat Patrol, which also comes with a number of other things, including these lads, which are known as Squig Hog Boys. They've got some cool bits on their sprues, mostly monsters, but also some things that I thought were really neat. In particular, the chainsaw axes and this revolver both remind me of the video game Borderlands. It also came with a leader unit, this large lad known as the Beast Boss. He's pretty big, looks pretty cool, and a lot of his stuff is really neat. But I don't really play Warhammer 40,000, so a lot of these things I don't really have a use for. But my love of orcs has survived for 2 separate centuries so far, so if there's a kind of orc boy, I want to take a look at them. Beast Snagga Boyz in particular are kind of neat. And that's why I got this box, this Combat Patrol. Normally I wouldn't get such a thing, but I got it as part of a big bulk deal, and so it was relatively cheap. Plus I can always try to sell the things that I don't need or don't want to keep or don't really have a use for. In the box is a set of instructions, which I'm not great with, that have pictures of all your sprues so you know what you should be looking at, as well as examples of the variants and different ways you can make the Beast Snagga Boyz. Right off the bat, from looking at these pictures and looking at the sprues, I like the Beast Snagga Boyz a lot more than the new Ork Boyz that we reviewed in the last episode. They seem to have a lot more potential for KITBASHas and conversions and individualizing them and making them your own. With an idea in mind from the instructions of which Beast Snagga Boy I would like to make for this video, let's take a look at the sprues together. There are 2 different sprues of the Beast Snaggas that go together to make 10 boys, or 9 boys and a boss knob to lead the unit. And this is true whether you get the box of just the Beast Snagga Boyz or you get the Combat Patrol. The only difference is for the Beast Snagga Boyz box, you get 10, whereas in the Combat Patrol you get 20. Just like the new Ork Boyz, the Beast Snagga Boyz are quite a bit more expensive than the old Ork Boyz. Clocking in at about $50 for a box of 10, that's about $5 per boy, versus the old Ork Boyz that cost about $3.50 each and come with a lot of extra bits. But the Beast Snaggas are cool. Their heads all seem more or less interchangeable, so at the very least you can do the basic head swap kit bash. Their weapons all seem like chain axe choppas that have bottle openers on the backs. They have a lot of bionic limbs. I don't know, there's something really charming about them. All their spikes and animal hide bits make them seem more primitive, but they're definitely not savage orcs. There's something in between, and that's pretty neat. After looking at the instructions, the boy I decided to make, it looked like he was parts B54 through B60, which all seemed to be more or less in the same area of the sprues, so that was convenient. The way the parts were broken up to make him made more sense to me as well. He had a separate weapon, a separate head, a front half of his body and a back half of his body, a separate leg, a separate arm with his pistol. Not my favorite way of having multi-part miniatures that are very easy to kit bash and convert, but definitely a step in the right direction compared to the new Ork Boyz kit that we reviewed in the last video. After I got all the pieces off the sprue, I found that they went together very easily. These ones are definitely meant to be glued together. They don't try to be the questionable push fit that the last ones were, and I think that's a big improvement too. You should always dry fit your pieces before gluing them together to see how they fit, and with just a little cleanup, everything for this boy fit together very well. After gluing the torso and the leg onto the main parts of the body, I started to clean up his mold lines. There were some prominent ones on his leg and a few on his arm, but they weren't too bad. They cleaned up pretty nice. After that, the rest of assembling him was a quick, easy, and enjoyable process. In all the things I build, whether it's terrain, miniatures, or anything else, I like to have a lot of freedom. I don't like only being able to do things one way and one way in particular. Sometimes when looking at a large pile of miniature bits, the possibilities can seem overwhelming. The potential can feel almost suffocating and leave you paralyzed in a state of inaction. But that's why it's important to be mindful of your mindset. Because this hobby is supposed to be fun, it's supposed to be a creative outlet, a stress reliever. And if you've managed to hold on to a bit of your childlike wonder enough to where a large part of your hobby, and possibly a large part of your income, is focused on building and playing with little toy plastic soldiers, do what makes your heart happy and let your imagination lead you. Aesthetically, the Beast Snagga Boys have amazing little details. Many girlies would kill to have natural nails like this Beast Snagga Boy. It looks like we made our boy correctly. Now let's see how he looks next to some other orcs. Our Beast Snagga is definitely taller than a new Ork Boy, but they'd still look great in the same warband. If you think the Beast Snaggas look cool, but maybe you don't want to play with that kind of army, I think they could have a lot of potential working as boss knobs, especially if you have a lot of the old Ork Boys. You get a box of 10 Beast Snaggas, scratch build some more shoulder pads and power claws out of cardboard, and then you could have 10 knobs for $50 as opposed to the usual price of 5 knobs for $35. In our last video we toyed with this concept for the new Ork Boys, but I feel like the Beast Snagga would be a much better fit. He's taller, he's heftier, he's more fearsome looking. If you want to keep them with the same style of Big Choppa, they're pretty much exactly the same already. And Basha and I are working on some scratch build power claws as well, so stay tuned for that. While I am biased for the converted Ork Boys we made in our posture correction video, Beast Snagga looks great. The only thing is his head is still smaller than an old Ork Boys. Just like the new Ork Boys, the Beast Snaggas also have kind of smaller heads, and that's a little odd. However, unlike the new Ork Boys, it's a lot more possible to swap heads around between the different Beast Snaggas, and maybe even between the old Ork Boys too, if you wanted to give that a try. All in all, I think the Beast Snagga Boys are really cool miniatures. I'm looking forward to assembling more of them and trying my hand at some KITBASHas and conversions with them that will be sure to feature in videos later on in the channel. I think they compare really favorably to old Ork Boys, new Ork Boys, and the posture corrected converted Ork Boys that we've made. Even if I hadn't managed to score the Combat Patrol for a good deal like I did, I'd have still wanted to get a box of the Beast Snagga Boys, and I'm really happy that I have them now. I'm excited for more possibilities and things I can do with them. I also forgot to drill out the barrel on his Sluggo when I was making him. I have a lot, and believe me when I say a lot of ideas for different Ork KITBASHAs, conversions, and scratch builds. I want to finish reviewing the different Ork Boyz kits first though, to establish sort of a context within which we can keep building and growing and experimenting and trying new things. And hopefully these videos will help people figure out which Ork kits are for them, and maybe even introduce new hobbyists to Orks in general. So thank you for watching, my friends. Take care until next time.